Welcome back to Holistic Healing with Lorrie. I'm Lorrie Rivers, and I help people with chronic illnesses to fully heal. So those are things like long hauler syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, and all those fun things. So we're going to be talking today about how to have crash-free holidays. Because if you have these types of illnesses that have post-exertional malaise as part of their progression or as one of their symptoms that you experience, which means that if you overdo it even just the teeniest little bit, that you then experience what we call a crash, right? So overdoing it though, for you could mean washing the dishes, or it could mean even getting up out of bed, or it could mean walking to the mailbox. These are things that, quote, normal people don't have any problems with. Or maybe it's a little more for you. Like I had a student who recently had to go on a trip. And so she was flying, and the airport did her in for a little bit. But she's in phase 4 or so of her healing journey, which we use different phases of healing. So phase 1 is like you're bed bound. Phase 2 is bed bound / couch bound. You are a little better off. Phase 4 is you're almost completely healed, but you still experience things like post-exertional malaise or other symptoms. So let's talk about these crash-free holidays. My recommendation is always to really fully plan out any of these events that you might be going to, even if it's just a Zoom with your family, even if that's all you've just decided to do that this year. And I know that also along with holidays, we also run up against a lot of emotional stuff as well. And I do have a tapping mini course. So tapping, which helps the body to go into the rest, digest, heal state, as opposed to the sympathetic fight, flight, or freeze state. And it also eases the emotions. So I do have tapping for stress-free holidays. Now what we're going to go over today is really about your pacing. So it's going to help you plan out your holidays really to a T so that you don't overdo it, or so you're less likely to overdo it, and so that you really take excellent care of yourself, which in turn allows you to actually spend more quality time with your loved ones and to not get sicker in the meantime. I'm going to share my screen here. And this is actually something that you can download for free. And I'll be doing a live class of this as well, that you can join us and we'll talk about some more strategies. But like I said, this is a free ebook that you can download. We'll put the link to that in the description there. So your first thing that you want to do is write down the specifics. Get very clear about the specifics. How many hours is it going to be? Who is involved in it? Is the food there going to be okay for you to eat? I know that a lot of people have a lot of food sensitivities, a lot of food allergies, and of course you do want to be sticking with the foods and hopefully the eating plan that you have that is going to support you, right? So staying away from the sweet stuff and the alcohol and things like that, so that you don't crash afterwards, and so that you are supporting your body. And are there other stressors like allergens? Are you allergic to animals? And maybe if you're going to a family member's house, maybe they have an animal. So these are all things to take into consideration. Also very important, is there a quiet place where you can go to rest? And I always recommend that you locate a place that's quiet where you can go to rest, even if that's your car. Okay. Now, before your event, and again, maybe this is that you're going to visit with some family, or It's less likely to be a friend's party, but if you're able to do that, then certainly it could be that. Or maybe you're even having people, your family is, you're having people come over to visit you. I always recommend that you practice radical rest for 2 days beforehand, before your event, and for 2 days afterwards. And this involves also doing any prep work, using your pacing the week before. Examples of this are maybe you want to prep some nutritious food to take with you, which is a great idea. And also to write a script of what you'll say when you need to go and rest, or you can just go, right? And definitely to enlist one or several allies to help you get ready, and also for while you're there. And we'll talk about that in just a bit. And I also suggest making a plan to check in with yourself every hour. Maybe you set an alarm on your phone, or just something to let you know, to remind you to go, maybe just go to the bathroom every hour and just close your eyes for a few moments and check in with your body, with yourself, see how you're doing. Now, during your event, in the same vein, you want to actually have planned rest times. And that's really up to you and where you are in your journey at this point. So maybe your planned rest times are every 2 hours. You make sure that you go and sit in the car or sit in a quiet room and even lie down for maybe 10 minutes and just really rest. And again, to have that pre-planned quiet place that you can go to rest. So I had a client or student a couple of years ago, and she said, I'm going to this wedding and there aren't any rooms that we can go to because it's in, I don't remember exactly where it was, but, and I said, go to your car. Even if it's cold, go to your car, turn the heat on in your car, and just go there and put your seat back and just rest for 10 minutes. Close your eyes, listen to some soothing music, or do a yoga nidra, or whatever it is that you need to do. And she got back to me after the wedding and she said, I so thought that I was going to crash. I thought that it was going to be horrible afterwards, but I did it. I went to the car. She did it twice and did a nice 15-minute rest both times throughout the day. And she said, I was so surprised. I didn't crash afterwards. She did make sure that she had her 2 days of rest before and 2 days after. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. And this is one of my favorite ones too, is to enlist some allies to run interference if you need. Other people can be really uplifting and sustaining. And then there are some other people that can be absolutely draining. And you probably know what I'm talking about. So do make sure that you have an ally there and that you'll have some kind of signal where they can come and get you and rescue you if you need, or if you realize that you really just need to leave early, and y'all can have a signal to know that's what needs to happen. And if you don't have that ally, or if they're in another room or whatever, just give yourself permission to excuse yourself, whether it's, sorry, I really need to go to the bathroom right now, or whatever it is. Give yourself permission to do that, because that's taking good care of yourself. And then after your event, again, you want to rest for 2 days afterwards. And you also want to make sure that you have your food already prepped so that you don't have to worry about doing that. So you really can rest. If your event involved if your event involved packing, that's what I meant, packing, not tracking. If it was travel, then have somebody help you to unpack during that time. And yeah, don't schedule any like doctor's appointments, or even generally don't schedule any other events for yourself, any other social things for yourself for those 2 days afterwards. And some tips here. Don't be afraid to say no. If that's what you need, if you just need that time to rest, people are gonna be okay with it or they won't. And that's their thing either way. You're taking excellent care of yourself. And if you do find yourself feeling sad about about not being able to go to the event, then do some tapping on it. And I do actually have another episode where we do some tapping, and you can tap on anything with that tapping meditation that we do. It's specifically around anxiety, but there's this awesome thing called borrowed benefits with tapping, with EFT, where you can tap along with any process, regardless of what it's about, and it will address whatever it is that you want to focus on. And then just be so kind to your body. I know that I used to get so angry with my body when I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do, or if I was out at an event and I could tell that my body didn't want to be there, but I was trying to make it be there. Just have some great communication with your body. And if you need to leave, right? So going back to give yourself permission to say no, and then just be so super kind to yourself. Talk to yourself and your body like you're a little child. And of course, we're not going to talk to a little child and be like, get up, dummy. We're going to be like, oh, you're so tired. Okay, that's all right. I love you and I'm going to take great care of you. And so let's do what we need to do here. Yeah. If possible, stop way before you actually get tired. You have possibly realized this by now, but typically if you wait until you're actually tired, then you've already reached the point where you're going to experience a crash later on. So really get familiar with your body's signals that you're starting to get tired. We go through these a lot in my relief and transformation course, but also in the membership program. And some of those signals, and they're different for different people, but it might be that you're finding it tougher to look people in the eye, or maybe your heart rate goes up. Maybe you notice that your heart rate is going up a little bit, or some people start to get a little bit of a headache, things like that. And then overall, the most important thing is to remember that this is a long-term goal for you. Is one event worth, or one day of overeating or eating the wrong things, or one day of pushing yourself harder, is that worth a big setback? And it's really worth it to do this planning for yourself so that you don't experience that huge setback. Now, having said that, if you do overdo it, or if you do eat something that you shouldn't, that's going to make you feel worse and not take you towards your long-term goal, have a lot of grace for yourself. Give yourself a lot of grace and just be like, okay, that wasn't what I meant to do. That's not what I intended, but it happened and that's okay. But just be so kind to yourself. Again, all of this comes back to being super kind to yourself. So yes, definitely the more you can plan it out, the easier it is for you to stick to eating the things that you know are good for you and not pushing yourself too much so that you don't have a crash. But again, it's never 100% sure that you're not going to experience a crash for some reason. We can also actually experience crashes from positive emotions. If you get really excited or if you're really joyful, then sometimes that can actually contribute to a crash as well. So again, just being super kind to yourself. And hopefully all of this is helpful for you. Let me figure out how to stop sharing here. Okay. Yeah, hopefully all of this is helpful for you. And like I said, we're going to be doing a live class on how to do this pacing, on how to plan your event, and also just to be together as a group. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to be with other people who understand what you're going through and understand that you do have to plan these things out. So make sure to sign up for that. Make sure to subscribe and share actually with us in the comments or the Facebook group what one of your favorite strategies is for having crash-free holidays. Love to learn from you, and we always learn from each other. We're all in this together. All right. Happy holidays. Lots and lots of love to you.